Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today is episode 17 of your NHL 22 franchise mode here with the Edmonton Oilers as we're about to head into the 2024 playoffs as we're heading into the first round up against the Minnesota Wild as we get to see a little bit of Kaprizov versus Connor McDavid, which should be absolutely entertaining, and plus a very new young stud there in Minnesota as well, coming up the pipeline in the team. So it should be a very exciting matchup. But before we get into that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to stop that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll be very much appreciated, boys. So let's get into this bad boy up against the Minnesota Wild. We all know how well the Edmonton Oilers did this year. We were an absolute wrecking crew. Not just that, it wasn't just all McDavid this year. I felt like this team was a team effort. McDavid threw up, like 115 points last year. He was a beast. But, this year was a little bit different. We had Holloway, who was just a madman throughout the entire season. 75 points, 46 goals on the year. Dylan Holloway was just a new beast for the team and was really wrecking it up. Yeah, Moto was awesome. Puljujärvi. We also picked up Tarasenko at the trade deadline, who was absolutely amazing in his first 18 games with the Oilers, especially playing up on that top line. So we have a lot of exciting new pieces coming to the team, and we're just looking like we can make another run of that Stanley Cup, which is what I'm hoping we can do. I really do hope that this team can go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, because I want to. We made it last year. We, got swept. I'm not looking to get swept this year. So let's take a look at the Wild. As we all know, they got the Stahl brothers. They got a very new Sylvain Bouchard, who is just an amazing prospect, who's coming up the pipeline for the Minnesota Wild. He was drafted 3rd overall just this past year, and he's just been developing really nice. 41 points in 82 games, making his first ever playoff appearance. So he's definitely going to be a threat, to say the least. But looking at the Minnesota Wild, Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson Ek, and Victor Arvidsson, definitely going to be a deadly top line. Then you got Marcus Foligno, Sylvain Bouchard, and Ryan Hartman as their second line, not bad. Then you got Greenway, Eric Stahl, and Jordan Stahl, and then Elias Anderson, Pius Suter, and Matt Zuccarello as their fourth line. So a very, very deep team that we're going up against the Minnesota Wild. And then they got Brodin, Matt Dumpa, Jared Spurgeon, Carson Lambos, Jalen Addison, and Eric Cernak as their defensive core. So they got a pretty decent defensive core coming up for the Minnesota Wild. I think it's definitely going to be, a tough team to go up against, especially defensively with Brodin, Dumpa, Carson Lambos is developing, Spurgeon doesn't look bad, and Addison, and then Cernak playing alongside of the offensive defenseman, and Addison, who doesn't play that bad defensively either. We're going up against, a pretty good team in the Minnesota Wild. They're definitely not fantastic. And then they got Vitek Vanecek, who is struggling since being picked up by the Wild, and Kaapo Kähkönen as well. So it's definitely going to be a difficult team. I feel like offensively they are pretty deep, especially on that third line with Greenway, Eric Stahl, and Jordan Stahl. They got a pretty deep team, and especially when you have Pius Suter as your fourth line guy, you do got a pretty deep team, and it's definitely a little bit intimidating to look at. But when you look at the Edmonton Oilers, you just see a completely different beast right now, especially with Tarasenko up on that top line, and especially with the way that our third line is. And then you even talk about the fourth line with McLeod, Nyquist, and Foegele. Defensively, we were absolutely amazing throughout the entire year. And if need be, we do got a guy coming up the pipeline in Dmitry Orlov if we do need to call up somebody to, be that asset, be a guy that, we could potentially call up. So Dmitry Orlov is an option that we can go with coming up towards this this playoff run. So instead of me babbling on, I've already babbled on for almost 5 minutes. So let's get into the playoff series. Now, I guess one big question is, what do we do with the goaltending? Because we don't have a tandem like we had last year with Smith. This year we only have Saros and Point. So doing a back-to-back where we throw Point in is not ideal. We don't want to be throwing Colton Point into a game. I think we're just going to ride Saros for this entire playoff run, to be completely honest with you. I think we run with Saros. We might throw Colton Point into a few games because Point didn't play that bad. Point really didn't play that bad in the few games that he did play throughout the season. He had a .930 save percentage. He was 15, 3, and 4. He was absolutely amazing. Saros as well had an absolutely amazing season. I mean, you talk about this guy, he was sick this year and really was. So I'm hoping that he could be that big guy coming towards this playoff run and really be the goalie that we need him to be. So let's get into this series against the Minnesota Wild. Game 1 in Rogers Place. Let's get this going, as I did not mean to press that button because the EA menus are lagging so goddamn hard for me. If they could work, that would be wonderful. All right, Game 1 between the Oilers and the Wild in Rogers Place. Let's get this going, baby. We just gotta, pound that offense in. We got 4 lines that can all score goals and play great defensively. I think that's the biggest thing. And I would like to shut this series down fast. I don't want to be, staying in these series for too long. I want to have that energy built up when we get in that Stanley Cup final, so we're all healthy and ready to go. We've played a lot of games over these past 2 years. We've played a lot of hockey, so we gotta play good, we gotta play smart, and don't overexert ourselves. That's the biggest thing. We want to finish the series off quick and fast. That's the biggest thing. So first period, 3-0. Zach Hyman, Tarasenko, baby, look at that pickup, and Connor McDavid, 3-0 to start the game off for the Edmonton Oilers. Second period, 6-0, a second goal of the playoffs already by Tarasenko, and then Nyquist and Evan Bouchard. That's 6-0. We don't even need to watch the rest of this game. Marcus Foligno gets one. We win 6-1. Wow, what a start, and especially Tarasenko. Let's talk about him, my lord. 3 points in his first playoff game with the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, you could also talk about McDavid and Draisaitl and how Draisaitl legit assisted every single goal in that game. But Tarasenko was an absolute madman who threw up 3 points in his first playoff game with the Edmonton Oilers. So what a pickup he has been for the Edmonton Oilers as we step into Game 2 in Rogers Place, the back-to-back in our hometown. So let's keep playing smart. Like I said, we didn't overexert ourselves in Game 1, so hopefully we come healthy and ready to go here in Game 2. Is already a power play to begin the game off, so nothing yet, no shots even on the power play, so that's not a great telling sign, but there we go, there's the first shot of the game. So first period, 1-0 for Mr. Connor McDavid, who gets his first goal of the game, and I think it's like a second goal of the playoffs already. That top line is deadly between Tarasenko, McDavid, and Draisaitl. My lord, they are ripping it up coming into this playoff matchup. Second period, 3-2. Tarasenko gets his third goal of the playoffs. What a pickup. Foligno adds one on the power play to tie the game up, and then Sandin and Tarasenko give us that lead, and then Greenway makes it close. So it is a very, very close game coming into the third period. We just got to shut things down. Saros needs to stand tall, and we just got to shut her down. I think that's the biggest thing. We got a good defensive core coming into this year, so we just need to shut things down, play very good defensively, and shut down this game. I think that's the biggest power play. There we go. We kill it off, baby. Big power play at the end of the game, and Leon Draisaitl gets a big goal, and then Yamamoto adds in the empty netter, and that top line and our power play just keeps on being stellar. Tarasenko threw up another 3 points on the night. That's 6 points in 2 games, ladies and gentlemen. That's 2 goal nights for. I mean, we can't even just not talk about Connor McDavid and how mad he has been. 7 points in 2 games, and I think he's really taken it to a personal offense. He's seen his team get absolutely walloped by the Philadelphia Flyers in round 1 last year, and he's like, fuck this, man. I gotta put this team on my goddamn back this year. Me and Leon and whoever else Peyton picks up, we're gonna put this team on our back, and we're going all the way to the finals, man, no matter who we face. And I love the way that McDavid and that top line is playing. Just everyone is really playing really well right now. So, first period, as we are in Minnesota, as Bugard gets his first playoff point with Joel Eriksson Ek adding one as well to give him a 2-0 lead. That's their first lead in this playoff series as well. So, second period, 3-0 or 3-1 as Nuge gets one, and Arvidsson gives them that 2-goal lead once again heading into the third period. So maybe we could potentially bounce back here, hopefully. That would be nice, but Hugh Cedar gets a big one for the Wild, so they're looking like they're going to take the lead here. Looking like they're going to take this dub too. It's not good. That's okay. We're gonna have, these bad games sometimes. We were bound to lose one of these games. The Wild are a good team, and they're a good home team. They always kind of have been. So we lose game 1 or game 3 as just that top line weren't able to produce very much, and we weren't able to get very much offense out of the other lines. And Zach Hyman out with a mild concussion, so we'll just replace the player Yeah, he won't be back until Game 5. So we could bump up Holloway up to the second line, I'm thinking. Dante Hyman could stay on the PK, so we could bump up Hyman there. And then we could bump Nyquist up there, and then do Hyman, McLeod, and Fogle. Nyquist could play up alongside a Lawton and Puljujärvi, and Holloway plays alongside a Nuge and Yamo. And I think that's the way we go with. So hopefully we can bounce back going into Game 4. We are up in the series 2-1. We're in Minnesota in the XL Energy Center. So hopefully we can have a bounce back game here in Game 4 against the Wild. So we're looking for a bounce back game. We're looking for a bounce back victory. So let's hope that we can get it here tonight. So come on, boys. First period. Nothing in the first period between the Wild and the Oilers. The game is at 0. Second period, 2-1. All right, Connor McDavid and Jesse Puljujärvi, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The Bison King gets a big one for the Oilers. They give us that 2-1 lead, and then Jordan Staal with like legit 10 seconds remaining buries one to cut it within 1. So can we, power play to begin. 5-on-3. Come on, we got to score on this. Scott Laughton, baby. We didn't score on the power play, but we scored immediately after the power play, so that's what counts. It basically counts as a power play in my head. So big goal by Scott Laughton to cut it, to give us that little bit of a lead. And then Ryan McLeod, baby, gets us a big one as we're up 4-1. And looks like we're going to be heading up in the series 3-1 against the Wild. So that is a huge win for the Edmonton Oilers. And now we're putting, the Wild up against the wall right now. We really are. We were able to get some depth scoring, even though we didn't get a whole lot of offense from our top line. We got some offense from our depth lines, which is really nice to see. So we will put Mr. Zach Hyman back in the game. Get my man back in the lineup. Oh my god, EA. Can you cooperate with me? Maybe I need to restart my console or something, because my lord, this game feels like it's a sloth right now. Draisaitl, McDavid and Tarasenko. This whole top line has been insane. Like, we haven't been seeing a whole lot of offense from our other guys, but God, that top line is insane. So, we'll head into Game 5 against the Wild. We're back in Rogers Place. So let's end this series off, boys. We do not want to be doing a back-to-back right now, especially with the way that we are. We want to finish the series off quick. So, boys, let's bring our A game tonight and let's finish the series off. Come on, boys. First period, 2-1. Zach Hyman, that's what I'm talking about, coming back from an injury. He scores a big one, and then Bouchard and Carson Lambos. All right, we are dominating the shot department, my lord. Second period, 3-2. Okay, Kaprizov ties up the game, and then Draisaitl gives us that lead. And also, who scored from center? Zach Hyman scored from center ice? Oh, Vitek Venasek, what are you doing, my man? Allowing that in? Come on, bruh. Going into the third period, we just got to shut things down, play good defensively. That's all we got to do. Power play for the Wild. And Bouchard gets a big one on the power play for the Wild as the game is tied up at 2. And then Kaprizov gets a big one for the Wild. And then Greenway, what are we doing, guys? We are just butchering the game as we... Oh, and then McDavid gets it within 1. Oh, and then we lose, man. How did we lose that one, bro? We were playing so well, and then Bouchard, Kaprizov, and Greenway all adding big goals for the Minnesota Wild. That is just a massive bummer, as the team just was not able to shut things down and let the Wild walk right back in. So I guess we will be dealing with this back-to-back, apparently. It seems like, and then Tarasenko out with an injury, and Nyquist, it said, as well. Damn, bro. Okay, so that means with Mr. What's-his-face, him out of the lineup, we're going to bump Dylan Holloway back up to the top line, Nyquist back down there, Frank Fortuno there, and then we'll throw Holloway up to the top line. Scott Laughton can play center on that. Don't really care about the second unit too much, because it's mostly going to be the top unit that plays anyways, and Fortuno could score some big goals. But Holloway getting bumped right back up to the top line. We're going back to Minnesota XL Energy Center, so it's going to be a rough back-to-back, man. We're traveling from Edmonton all the way to Minnesota for this back-to-back, so it's a rough one. But boys, this is what you put yourself in this position, guys. You guys put yourselves into this position, so time to dig yourself out of it. So let's go, boys. First period, 2-0 for the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid and Zach Hyman both getting big goals for the Oilers. All right. So good start, but now we got to shut things down. Second period, 4-1. Kaprizov gets within close, but then Nugent McDavid had 2 big ones, as now 31-17 for shots. We are coming out to play. McDavid and the rest of the team were pissed that we allowed the Minnesota Wild to rock right back in, especially it was like halfway through the third we let them walk right back in, and Lawton scores a big one for the Oilers as we're up 5-1, and it looks like this game might be over, baby, as we're going to be heading off to the second round of playoff action for the Edmonton Oilers. So what a way to end off that, as Zach Hyman, McDavid just popping off in that last game, getting 2 big goals for himself to carry us into the next round for the Edmonton Oilers. That is awesome to see. I am happy that we are going into the next round, as McDavid finishes off that first round with 12 points against the Minnesota Wild, as he was just an absolute wrecking path throughout that first round. So now we're going to be going up against the Vegas Golden Knights. And have we faced this team? Did we face this team last year? I know we lost against them before. And this was a team that, this was the team that first beat us in our first playoff run. When I was, took over helm of the New Jersey Devils. This was our very first ever playoff run. We went up against the Vegas Golden Knights in the second round and lost. So this is going to be a big challenge for us heading into the second round, and how well we do against the Vegas Golden Knights will be a big question. But heading into the stats, we'll do that quickly before we take a look at what we got to face against the Vegas Golden Knights. So McDavid and Draisaitl, absolute 2 madmen between each other, producing a lot of points. And Darnell was also amazing up on that top line. Yamamoto was amazing alongside of Nugent Hyman. And then you got Lawton, who did pretty well. Puljujärvi, not too bad. Nyquist with 2 points. And then some of our depth pieces, especially Hyman, getting 1 point with the 1 game that he did play. And Dylan Holloway struggling to get a single point during this playoff run, or during that series against the Wild. He was even bumped up to the top line alongside of McDavid, and he still wasn't able to put up the points. So that's kind of concerning. And then Bouchard, Orlov did great. Sandin, Clifton, and then Nurse, all our defensive core did great. And UC Saros with a .917 save percentage, and did pretty good with playing a lot of games and a lot of days, basically, especially with us dealing with the back-to-backs that we had to deal with, and we're still going to have to deal with them. So hopefully Saros can continue to play big and be that big guy for us, as we're going to be heading up against the Vegas Golden Knights once again. Now, thank God this team does not have Jack Eichel, but they do have Vincent Trocheck, who has been absolutely not amazing in this first round, or in that first round, with that first line of Dmitry Timashov, Trocheck, and Stone. The second line, they got Riley Smith, Alexander Winberg, and Stevenson. The third line, they got Tuck, Carlson, and Patrick. So they do got a pretty deep team, especially with that third line with Tuck, Carlson, and Nolan Patrick, which seems to be doing pretty good. Smith, Winberg, and Stevenson are also doing pretty good. And you got Hagelin, Sudquist, and oh my God, Derek Brassard. Forgot how to say his name for a quick second. And then defensively, you got Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, and then you got Haig, Noel Jolson, which is pretty good defensively, and then Alec Martinez and Dylan Coughlin. So definitely not the strongest defensive core in the world. I think it's just because they're, heavy on cap, especially with Martinez there. And then goaltending, they got Robin Lehner and Laurent Brossoit as their backup goalie heading into this series. So Robin Lehner looking pretty good. So it's going to be Lehner versus Saros, and I'm excited to see how this series will end up against the Vegas Golden Knights. But for right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, boys, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode as we head up against the Vegas Golden Knights, as we look for a little bit of sweet, sweet revenge. So see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.